Hey everyone, so yesterday we put out a video on how to get installed and up and going on VMware Workstation. I've had already a ton of great questions, a lot of comments, appreciate that, keep them coming. But I saw a comment this morning and I thought to myself, well, we did VMware Workstation, why don't we do the free version and we'll do VirtualBox. Probably a lot of you are working in VirtualBox. Um, in my opinion, it's probably the same, almost as good, somewhere around the ballpark of VMware Workstation. So, not a whole lot of difference here, but there are a couple of different things that it might make it worthwhile to go through it. So, let's get started with creating a MAAS server. And we'll pick Linux, 64-bit. Oh, one's fine. Create a virtual hard disk now. VDI is fine. Dynamic is fine. 8 gigs a little light. I'd be more comfortable with 20. So let's do that. And let's look at what we have configured here. Settings. That's fine. System. Don't care about floppy. Optical's fine. Don't need a network boot on this one. We will on the other ones. Processor's fine. Enable virtual threading. We'll just leave that set there. Display, don't care. Storage. This is where you want to mount your ISO file. And mine is already there, but you can just go find your file and mount it. So we'll do 1404. So that simulates the ISO CD being in a drive. That's good. We only need one drive for this one. That's okay. It's SATA. Audio, we could tick that off. Network, we'll come back to serial ports. They're off anyway, I believe. Yes. USB, doesn't really matter. Okay, network. I've had problems with this one just as I have the same with VMware. But you want a bridged adapter. Make sure that you're on the correct adapter that you want to use. This is the adapter type. Usually Intel Pro 1000 I don't have any issues with, so you can leave that. This allows it to come in and out. I'm gonna allow all, so that, I mean, this would only be in the case if you wanted to access your server from outside this server, the virtual server from outside this PC that we're working on. But I'm going to allow all in case we want to do testing or something like that. I won't have to fight security issues. Let's create a second adapter for the private interface. It will be host only. Yep. We want to allow all, make sure it's different, and then hit OK. So let's start up. This will be a standard install. Right control gets you out on VirtualBox so you can have your mouse back. So as we did in the other tutorial, we'll just get to the part where it looks at the network cards, and then I'll fast forward. and just pick 0 for now. And we got DHCP, so it looks like it's working. Okay, installation is done. Let's jump on and take a look. So that looks alright. 225. Alright. Let's go ahead. We'll get the network changes out of the way. This is just the same configuration that we always do. And I've already got a 150, so we'll just make this one 151. And I'll add our local DNS server on there. That's good. And let's go ahead and add our packages so we can do all the update and upgrade at the same time. Put some Python on there. The common software is already on here, yes. We'll add GG stable, even though it comes with OpenStack, I'll add it. MAAS maintainers, which it's now MAAS, I still need to update that. And cloud installer. Now we'll do an update and an upgrade. Okay, the upgrade is done. And now we should be able to just start installing MAAS. Okay, that install's complete. I did forget to reboot to bring in the new IP changes, so let's do that now. That's good. So let's create our admin account. And let's log in. Okay, let's get our boot images going. Okay, let's get our clusters configured. And it didn't pull in that ETH1 because I installed before I rebooted. Let's make sure it's up. Yeah, it's fine. Just didn't pick it up. So let's add it. I don't know if we've ever done this manually, but on the channel, but it's not that hard. Just name it whatever you'd like. And we fill all this stuff in anyway. and it's open to 255 addresses. And that should be all there is to it. And we need to just change the DNS on the default gateway on this one. Should be good. See how, make sure boot images, they're proceeding, that's good. Subnets should show now that we have the proper interface in there, so that's good. That should be all automatic. Let's see. We don't need a proxy. Let's do upstream DNS. Save that. Go to the root account. Let's add an SSH key. That's good. Okay, I think that's all we have to do. That's interesting. But anyway, it's probably because of that interface, but that's alright. We'll wait for images and then we can try to fix it if we need to. So Etherwake, we talked about this on the VMware video, but we're not going to install Etherwake because they're virtual machines and it's pretty difficult to get a virtual machine to wake on LAN. There's some plugins, there's some scripting that you can do to try to trick it to trigger that machine on, but I've never been successful at it, and it's kind of a pain to get it to work, so we're not even going to attempt it. Plus, in 1604, as of now, they don't offer wake on LAN, so going forward we won't be able to use it anyway. So no Etherwake. We'll just have to power the machines on manually when we need them. Let's see if we can straighten this up with just a quick reconfig. We can go ahead and build our environments file while we wait. Okay. Let's see. Here's what I'm looking for. So let's see how the cluster controller and the region controller. That's the issue right there. Because we installed before I changed the address. That's why it's not working. And it's not 150, it's 151. Not an issue. There you go. Now we should be all set. It should be green and happy. Yes, it is. Now we'll wait on images. I just put inload on this real quick just so I could kind of gauge when it stopped downloading. Okay, looks like we're slowing down. Okay, while that finishes up, let's create a node. So we'll call it node 1. Switch to expert mode here. That's fine, that's fine. VDI is fine, node 1, 8 gigs fine for this. Dynamically allocated, that's fine. Let's go into settings. Yep, all that's good. System, take off floppy, take off optical. We want to add network as a boot, and we want to make it number 1 and hard drive second. It's fine. That's fine. Let's give it 2 CPUs, because if you want to use it to virtualize servers, you're going to need more than 1 CPU. And acceleration is already ticked on. Storage, you can remove that controller, and let's see, add a hard disk, create new disk. VDI is fine. You can name it whatever you want, make it as big as you want. So you've got them on the same controller, different port. So that should be okay. You can disable audio. Network, we want it host only. And we'll allow all. That's fine. And we're only going to put 1 adapter on here. If you need a public adapter, you can go down through and add them if you like. You will need some for the OpenStack install, remember? Okay. Now, I don't remember in VirtualBox how this is going to come up. There's no disk mounted, so it's not going to try to install anything, so it should grab Pixie first time through, but we'll see about that. So it looks like images are done. So that's good timing. We're ready to fire that node up. Let's see what it does. And it grabbed Pixie, so not bad. While this is booting up, and get out of this, we don't need any more. You can go ahead and start the install for OpenStack. Just save some time, get it going. Okay, and that one powered off. Let's check the GUI. There it is. So let's commission it. Let's edit it real quick. I'll just show you. I don't know that it actually complains about power type anymore, but I'm just setting them to wake on LAN because there's no manual option in 14.4. So let's commission it. See, there we go. Huh, it didn't do that the other day. It didn't complain about it during the other install. So just to get around it, even though we're not going to use it, we'll install either way. It's a quick install. So just for good measure, now we should be able to commission. Huh, crazy. But that's how you get around it. Anyway, let's go power it up manually. And you can just normal start. Okay, looks like commissioning is complete. It's ready to go. 2 disk. Only picked up 1 core, that's not surprising. The disk looked good, that's alright. Okay. Now we are ready to install OpenStack. Okay, well, MAAS has been connected to. We've got 1 resource. We'll wait for this to try to deploy, and then we'll power it on. There it goes, allocated, deploying. And we'll start to deploy. So, this has been pretty much a rinse and repeat of the VMware install. There's not a lot of difference here. The biggest things you have to worry about are network configurations when you come into virtual environments like this. I showed you the little differences about VMware. The only thing you have to remember on VirtualBox, preferences. So you have to make sure the only thing that's important is your preferences and your network settings for your host-only network. So make sure that in your host-only network adapter, whatever IP it's going to be, you can create another one if you'd like. But this is only inside this PC that you're working on. It doesn't really matter what the IP is, just as long as DHCP is not serving addresses. You can use whatever address you want, because they only talk within this box on this PC. So you can leave that alone, just as long as it's not serving DHCP, or you can create another one and use that one and use whatever address you like. But that's safe. Just make sure that setting is correct, and you shouldn't have any problems. On the MAAS server, you want a host only, and you want a bridge. The bridge, I use public and private very loosely. So, public meaning that it's anywhere on your network that can get to the internet. It doesn't mean it's in a DMZ. It doesn't mean it's out, not behind a firewall. It just means that it can get to the internet. That's what I call public. The other, when I say private, it can only get to nodes that are within your OpenStack configuration. It's a private network that are only routable through the MAAS server to get out to the internet. That's what I mean by those two terms. Most people probably get that, but I just want to make sure that we're talking the same language, right? Public does not mean public, just out so anybody can grab it. Just as long as it can get to the internet. So, that's what you need on MAAS. If you continue with the OpenStack install, you need privates on every one, so host-only adapters, and then on a couple of the nodes, whether you do HA or not, you're going to need a public one. So just use a bridged adapter like you would on your MAAS server, and that'll work just fine. DHCP will be served by your router, just like it was on bridged. So that should be okay. So we'll let this continue its install. Based on the version you're using right now, some of the landscape installs work, some of them don't. It doesn't really matter because everything is going to be the same as it would be on real hardware from here on out. So hopefully this is informative. It's a lot like VMware, but this is VirtualBox. VirtualBox is totally free. Anybody can get it. It's from Oracle. It works just the same way. So thanks for watching this one, and keep the comments coming, and I'll see you soon.